reason we need help is because we are in a big conflict. Now, you know us by now. We are not going to try and sell you a horse, and say that it's a giraffe, or we are not going to try to gild the lily. We are going to tell it like it is, because you deserve that. You have proven yourself. We want to share with you as fast as possible some of the considerations so that we could then decide together here what the next step is. And then we will proceed accordingly to present it and prepare Alyse for the presentation, because we haven't yet made up our mind. Okay, so let me just turn around and say to you that we respect you and we are willing to eat crow if we have to. We are not going to make the thing look more beautiful than it is, right? To impress you. In any case, we couldn't get away with it even if we wanted to, because you are too smart for that. We'll call it like it is. We are in the business of being successful, and every once in a while we don't fall on our face, but we don't achieve what we wanted to, and then we grieve about it. But we will do it in our own beer. We'll cry in our own beer. We won't make you pay more for it. So we have a problem here. I want to go over some of these areas which are no news to you anymore. You know them from previous reports and so on. And what I'm going to show you, so that you could very quickly, like a business person, judge. And it's good that you are around here so you could look. This is on a scale from 0 to 10. Okay, here is the code. Anything that is 8 and better is good news. 10 is better than 9, 9 is better than 8, but from 8 to 10 is what we are expecting to get to places. Anything that is less than that, they still need to more work. Now there are two areas. I see your mind is already racing 6 miles ahead of us. You'll get to it. One area is, how have we accomplished in these particular important areas while she is here with us? And this is what happens to our best judgment when she is away from us in the outside of the program. Now you realize, of course, that this is what you have paid for. That's your ultimate pay. You didn't pay for just so we can keep her happy while she is here, and then she goes away from here, all hell breaks loose. As you could see, there is a major discrepancy between what we have managed to accomplish with this lovely young lady while she is here and what happens when she is away from us. Okay, now let's go over sort of very quickly and examine these issues, and then we will give you our proposal, and then we want to hear you telling us, because we have to decide how we proceed tomorrow or Wednesday on the basis of what we do. Let's start up with some of the basic 4 major boo-boos that the injury has done to this lady that you already are familiar with. Flooding. You know what it means, flooding, getting overwhelmed by emotions. When she is here, we have reached an excellent point. It's a good point. When she is out, she's still way below what is expected. So she is, any time that is less than 7 or less, it's still touching low. 7 would be better than 3 or 2 or 1. But this means out there she is literally prey. Yeah.
I just wanted to give Harold an opportunity. You know what the flooding is, terrific.
Oh no, he read it.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember when we met. He read, he's with it, so he's good.
He's voted for trustees in case I die.
Yeah.
That's what got here. So
Okay, do us a favor. Stay alive.
You want, yeah,
And
that's
be
what
well,
both
and be well.
attorneys tell him.
Okay.
Keep me alive.
Okay, I don't have to interpret the difference. It's a different story. Now, here we go, impulse control. Attention and concentration. On all 3 areas within the program, we have got pretty good, solid results. What's the payoff out there? Not yet sufficient. Out there, she is still touch and go. So obviously she needs more holding up. Now we come to the thinking department, some very important areas. When it comes to thinking through things, using her head intelligently, while she is in here, she is improving, but even here, she still needs more training to get it. It's not finished yet, right? It's not solid enough. She has to go a little bit higher than that. So it's not finished yet. Out there, it's a disaster. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. It doesn't mean always. This is about the worst possible scenario. right? We didn't take the best scenario, but the worst. Drawing the right conclusions from things that go on out there. It's getting there. It's beginning to get, but we haven't yet finished all the problems. These were the major accomplishments so far. We got it more controlled, more solid. Out there ain't good. Now we come to problem solving. All of these things that are very necessary for a person to run an efficient life as well as an efficient business, whatever it is. And here we still are groping ourselves to make her independently able to do better. If we feed her the right program, she does well. But she on her own, even here, without solid help from our side, is just barely beginning to catch on. Out there it's even worse. Now we come to interpersonal skills. And we are talking about the ability to communicate effectively verbally with people. It's so important for her that she comes through well and clear. Okay, she's doing not too poorly here. This is a very solid score. I want you to understand we could have given her a higher score, but that's taking into account the good days and the bad days. Let me add something, and if Ellen probably already told you, she probably, on certain days, she is doing 8 and 9 here. That is assuming that she didn't have some tragedies or things happen to her out there. But if she comes in from out there after a bad night or a bad weekend, then it takes her time to think. Yesterday, the day before, in all of the Face the Music presentations, she was exceptionally good because she was able to pull her thoughts together, make some little notes for herself, and she was very clear, very straight, very to the point. But it would be unfair for us to give her a rating for those because then there are the other times. Okay, so there is a discrepancy, although even here we haven't reached what we consider to be a solid, reliable way to bring to being in control and acting appropriately in a way that she feels good and other people feel very good toward her. Both of them she has moved beautifully within the program. Out there, it's still touch and go. Now, if she could do this out here, would be a wonderful thing. But it's still touch and go for all kinds of reasons. And then judging who is safe, not to get lined up with people who are unsafe for her. Here, obviously, she is even better than 6. We just gave her the most conservative thing because here everybody is safe, right? And we are taking good care. Out there, she's still prey. So in essence, when you look at it, if you count out all the 8s and 9s and you see what else is left to be done, it tells you in essence that even here, under our own work, there's still some work to be done. This is very promising. When you look at what happens out there, so you could take her home and build on top of it, we still have a breakdown. I'm not going to give you a handkerchief because you are a tough lady and you know it. Shall we move on? Okay. Now we come to another department, and that has to do with her awareness of what has to be done. We will break it down in different points. Her understanding of what rehabilitation is all about, and acceptance. Okay, you have read it, so you know. Knowing what her deficits are, understanding exactly what the injury has done, and understanding clearly, we feel that in this program, while she is here, when she's calm, she has a good, solid handle on it. That's good. We would hope that this would carry out. When she goes out there, she forgets, gets disorganized. It's not too good. So there is a breakdown in that. Understanding how the deficits that she has influence her life out there in the future and in the present, so that you could deal with it. Okay? She's moving up there, although this is more difficult for her to grasp completely, but out there it's definitely below par. It's not even half as good. Knowing what must be done to cope with her problems. When she is here, she's perfect. The reason we didn't give 10 on this, because there are some times when she's a little bit more sensitive, but she is really very good. These are excellent results. Knowing what must be done, here, wonderful. Out there, she may throw the book away and not continue to practice what we preach, or what she preaches herself. The same thing with willingness to practice what the program. She is a solid citizen here, a model rehabilitant, and she learned a tremendous amount. Out there, she's just about midpoint. It's not good enough, not safe enough, although there's a carryover. She tries. She is really trying. Accepting the need for help. Here she is perfect. Out there she's fighting it tooth and nail. I wish we could close this gap. Then we come to following through and consistently following through on advice. Right here we are satisfied. It's good. Even the worst days is not too bad. 8 to 10 is pretty good. Out there it's below par. Accepting gracefully her limitations, that, in other words, accepting gracefully the fact that her independence will have to be limited for a period. That means that she cannot run her own show without consulting other people and allowing other people to sort of put in their 2 cents, helping her in decision making. It's 9 going on 10 here. No questions asked. She goes out there and it's up for grabs. And we worry stiff. We are terribly worried about these things, these breakdowns, because each one of these will mean sleepless nights for you, wherever you are. And now we come to knowing how to extricate herself from potentially dangerous or humiliating entanglements. Here she's perfect because she's always under, and she knows how to apply very sensibly. Out there, depending how much emotion, remember the flooding business, the more the emotions get a hold of her, the more she has to improvise on the spur of the moment, the less able she is in using good judgment and extricating. And Ellen could tell you stories about things that worry us terribly, about entanglement she has with people and so on. God knows, we won't have to
Yes,
deal
I
with it.
know.
Okay. Now, to stop agitating over the fact that an injury has occurred and feel at peace with herself. Here, she is wonderful. She goes out there, it's like a different person. So when you look at it, the scoring card of what happens here is basically, by and large, with some exceptions, some holes, a very promising card. The trouble is that what you paid for almost a full year with solid money is to be able to take something home and have a road test with it, right there on the roads of California. You didn't pay for it so the garage, and the mechanics will drive it around and say it feels good, it handles well. And this is our heartbreak. Now, I'll take a breath for a second to give you a chance to absorb all this rapid fire thing, and then we'll go to the next one, which is the decision we have to make, because that's simply to prepare what do we do about it. You want to say something so at least you'll catch your breath, because we hit you.
No, I see
You got this.
I see exactly.
You see the point.
This.
Yeah.
Every time she
Okay.
touches scalp.
Now this worries us. Now the critical question then is, if we would say to you, Dottie, put in one more round, right? We honestly banged around back and forth. We ask ourselves, what can we promise this family, honestly? What chance have we got that another round here is going to produce any better results than what we have already gotten here? And we have to take you in our confidence to say we are not sure we can make any more promises beyond this, because when she leaves this structure of this program out there, unsupervised, not sufficiently, all hell breaks loose. Now, one of the consequences of that is that it destroys her own self-esteem. And if she is going not to feel good about herself, she will become unable to use what she has learned here. You must give her some grounds where she could build up success and no more failures falling flat on her face. And I'm not giving the details because you and Ellen have discussed plenty. So here is sort of in a nutshell where we are. Conclusions. Nearly 1 year of intensive study. I'm not mentioning the money that you put in, but 1 year of intensive study on our part, with everything we have got, has led us to conclude that, 1, in this program, the way it is, 4 days a week, 5 hours a day, with evenings and weekends away from us, the day program, Alyse has gone as far as she can in view of the constant irritations, the constant traumas, little and big traumas that she suffers out there, and mishaps, which is an edge here, occur during the time while she is away from the program. In other words, the fact that she leaves here and goes into a situation which exposes her constantly to either irritations or falling on her face or breaking her promises, is something that's almost like pouring good money after bad money. It's like a person who gets antibiotics and then he goes and stands in the window and catches pneumonia again. And we feel that it would be very important for us to face the music here. It's not sufficiently controlled and not sufficiently supervised for us to be able to tell you that she's going to get much more out of it in the next round. She is beginning to show the wear and tear, and she's smart enough now and aware enough to see that there is a breakdown and carryover. That poses a risk that while all the good lessons she has learned may go down the window because she will say, I'm hopeless. We don't want that point to achieve. And so what we would like to recommend is, instead of returning for another round here, to find the best possible transitional living program in the country. Thank God you could at least look at that. There are a couple of good ones. I'm not talking about many of them. And see if she could get into that kind of an environment. Now we need your help on that because Alyse may not be very happy, considering you may have to take her, show her, to get a real feeling of what this is all about. Here are the benefits. In such a good program, if she could get into one of those where she really would find the right kind of environment, several benefits could be attained there. Number one, she would be totally professionally supervised in her self-care and leisure activities, rather than amateurs. And that would obviously prevent some boo-boos that have occurred. Because in our opinion, the reason she cannot apply out there, some of the stuff that's done here, it's too much of an exposure to uncertainties, and she's not yet ready to apply. She has it in her head, she can't implement it out there. Number two, there would be an availability of sound advice given to her by professionals whom she respects, who would respect her, and who could prevent her from achieving failure. This is critical. They would prevent her from falling on her nose and exposing herself to experiences which devour her self-esteem. They devastate and wipe out her gains in self-esteem. She comes in here sometimes and you could literally see the poor girl is wiped out because she feels so crummy about what happened to her out there. And here she is respected, she's liked, and she's given honest judgment that she's really moving ahead. And she knows that when she steps out there, God knows what's going to happen to her. To repeat this again and again is dangerous. So we feel that a more supervised environment would give her that. The opportunity to develop safe repertoires of behavior, to really practice success out there in such environments. So that these three would be what we would consider to be the benefits of such a good program. Also, she would get further cognitive remedial training so that she would improve further her skills, and this would be embedded in real life situations, work type of situations and social situations that would give her a little bit run for her money, rather than making it an academic kind of learning, some real life. And also in such an environment, there would be a possibility of gradually loosening the strings according to her ability to catch on and become more independent. So the ultimate objective is to give her as much leeway and latitude to run her life, but not too fast, too soon. Now, it would be very nice if I could say to you that I can guarantee that all this will be lock, stock, delivered, but these are the kind of things that you are looking for to achieve in a good residential programs. And from what we hear, there are at least a couple of them that are reasonably delivering what they promise, rather than the advertisement in all of them are perfect. Every program advertises they are delivering the best product possible. The truth is only some of them are really what they are cracked out to be. Now, the real thing that we need, Dottie, is to decide here how we place it, because up until literally today, we have been continuously tossing it back and forth in our mind. What are we going to tell Alyse? Come back for another round, which in good conscience we don't feel that she'll be able under the present circumstances to gain much more. I told you, not only don't we have any certainty that she will be able to gain under these circumstances much more here, but we have some fear that sooner or later her depression about it will begin to make it even worse. It's a heartbreak because I wanted us to finish the job in style together. So I'm opening up the floor now for questions, answers, and decisions so we can see how we do it, because I don't want to hit you with this before we have a chance to digest it together.
Where are these programs located, do you recommend?
Well, I want to be careful about it.
Yes.
By reputation, there are two programs that I have heard from colleagues that I respect. I've never visited any of them personally. I've been invited to both. I haven't seen. So I'm really talking to you what I hear from colleagues. One is in Carbondale, Illinois. And it has been around for a number of years. It has a good track record. People recommend it, and some people don't recommend it. But the basic point is that's one. Another, what?
It's called Carbondale. It's directly across from the university, and they have an exchange program, and students are able to attend, classes there.
I know.
It's a small community.
I know the lady who is the director well personally. We also know one or two members of the staff because they visited here. Now, that's one possibility to look at, and they have options. In other words, what they do is they have, more close living and then semi-independent living, and some people attend the university. There's people live in the city who have been their graduates and have been already graduated from the intensive. In other words, they have a variety of networks which they presumably hold on. That's one. There's another one that has a very good reputation from what I've heard from colleagues, although I haven't visited. I've been invited to go there, and I promised I will, but then I got sick, so I couldn't go. And that's in Texas someplace. I don't know exactly where it's located. It's called the Tangram Ranch. Now, there are others too. What we would say is, once you digest the idea that this might be the best, we would give you a way to go about it. And either way, my recommendation would be you go no place unless you visit personally, see the place, get a feel for the people there, and if you decide that this might be it, then you take the lady also to see where she might be going. If we decide that this is where we pursue, and that's our recommendation, then I would say you have to go for yourself. We would give you some ideas as to how you would find out from people that I respect what's the best places to go look for. Not all of them. There are a handful. And so there is a wonderful physician in San Francisco, is a good friend of mine, who's probably one of the most knowledgeable rehabilitation physicians in the country. And he knows very well the scene in California. So Shelley Barrell, for example, in San Francisco would be one person I would be very much relying on advice where you could go look for, because he knows very well, he is in San Francisco and he knows the scene all over the country, but he knows very well the California scene. There may be something not far from where you are, which might be suitable. In the center of the country, there is somebody else I would ask, I would recommend, and I would look at these two because they have got good reputation from professionals that I know.
And we have people whose family members have gone to Carbondale and Tangram.
Oh, yeah.
Who could be in contact with it.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes that's really the most
Yeah, we
helpful
would
and
give
most
you,
reassuring
excellent
to
idea.
somebody.
We would give you the telephone number of some of the families, parents of trainees from here whom we felt have to go, and then you could judge for yourself. But the point really is, your first step is to digest the blow first of all, that we feel that we, in a sense, we have gotten about as far as we could go in good conscience. And it just doesn't look promising. It's like going to be more of the same. If we had a decent transitional living center here, then I wouldn't hesitate to tell you this is the place. But we only have half a loaf what she needs. And that half a loaf just ain't good enough now if you look at the ratings, the discrepancy between the ratings.
Yeah, we've been trying to find somebody to stay with us that's better trained, but we also feel that she's such a strong-willed young lady she probably wouldn't respond to anyone over a long period of time.
That may very well be, but there's another problem with that. I think it's a good idea. Even if you could find now somebody, you see, if you could ideally find somebody who is eminently suitable to live with her here, and that person really has to be, the only way it would make sense for you, dollar sense, not just psychological sense, if that person would come here, spend a few months, learn the business, and then both of them go home and you can rely on that person home. Otherwise, it may be a bad deal. You can't afford any more experiments. What you need now is some resolution, some, bringing the bacon home. And that kind of thing would be probably exorbitant. Where will you find such a well-trained person? I'll tell you one model in my mind. We had the first Israeli brain-damaged soldier in 1968. I'm going back years now when I started in this business. And that person was sent here by the Ministry of Defense because he was a soldier, he was injured during battle and so on, so the country was willing to go out and rehabilitate him. And so we worked with him here and we found that there is something we can do with him. We told them, send us a bright young person who will be willing to stick to this guy a year or two. Send him here and let him spend with us 5-6 months so he can learn the business and go home, train him, and then train other people with the experience that you have learned here. Now that worked. So what they did is they found a bright graduate student with a master's degree in psychology who was willing to come and learn here, was looking forward. They paid the expenses. The guy spent about 4 or 5 months with us. We trained him very intensively. At that time I was all alone. And we trained him very intensively, and the parents were here. We briefed them. We went back home. And then he worked with this guy in the university setting, and they took in 3-4 other trainees. And all that was paid by the rehabilitation of the Israeli VA system. And for about 1 year he worked with him, and that worked. And then some other people came around, and then we went and built a program over there. I can't see how you could produce such a thing surefire. Not only will this person...
The way the problem is right now at living in Fresno, I didn't see that would work out in maybe a few more years, because no matter who she's with in Fresno, who I live with, or who thinks she is with me, or whatever, all she wants to do is see Chris, and Chris is someone who has been using her. So
No, you may be right. You may be right that what she needs is this kind of an environment where she has a much more assured discipline. She needs more training before you cut her loose. And there's no point. So the thing is that the best solution and the best possible approach would be to consider a good transitional living residential kind of thing. And as I said, there are a handful of good ones in the country. And when she is good and ready, that's the time she should be eased into a community living, so that she will not fail again. Because otherwise, even though she learned a lot, the danger is that in time, because of all the emergencies and all the traumas that happen, that it's not just that she may forget what she learned here, but the worst that can happen is she's too smart now to realize. She doesn't fool herself anymore. She is sometimes quite lucidly able to understand just how big the failure is, from preaching to practice. And that is a terrible danger, because this young lady worked so hard to build up some sense of control and self-esteem. And we are quaking literally in our boots every time she leaves here. And Ellen has spent hours trying to deal with her, and then in the morning she is fit to be tied, because she says, my God, I don't know what happened there. And we know that it's just not good enough.
I know it's not. I've been
Oh no, you know that.
No, he was using a picture. What it means is my heart aches. If I could just go out and take a wand and arrange things for her so she couldn't be hurt, I would do it. But it's impossible. And what has worried me, and we've talked about it, is the depression she's now experiencing, because she recognizes she's not producing the way she'd like to, or the way she does here. And that's really making her feel very difficult for herself. And, that has us concerned.
I think you probably toughest on
Oh yes, the mother at this stage of the game probably
Because
will
she
not be
represents
able to.
authority.
Yeah, but she wouldn't be able to handle the mother. What you need here is a more objective, professional people with whom she can engage rather than battling it out with mama.
The reality is, the point is not for her to go home and live with you. The point is
No.
really to see how much she can be stretched. First, by putting her in a dormitory situation where things really are regulated and supervised, and then gradually moving her to less and less supervised.
Yeah.
And that's not something we can do as parents. We don't have those kinds of
Yeah. Sure.
facilities.
When you talk in plain English, the supervised condition of a good residential program not only provides you with safe social environment, which is under supervision, which makes it possible for you to develop good skills and safely practice social life, but it also prevents you from going through yo-yos, up and down, up and down, up and down, and never get the feeling that you could really stand on your own feet. And so it has both. It's a safety valve, and it's a place where you can teach the person slowly skills to adjust.
The only thing that I can see that she would really have a problem with is that she's already gone through a 2-year program in Bakersfield, which was nearly procedures.
Yeah. But you see,
And that's exactly what they professed,
Yeah.
what you're talking about. She went from the dormitory living to the living with one counselor to everything, the working and the whole job
Sure.
situation. And then the man that they all liked, too,
Yeah.
ended up was going to rape her, and she wasn't home. She and the nurse were not home. They raped the next door. He raped the next door lady. Found out that the lady, the man who raped 21 women had been left off of every case.
Hmm.
And I went to court for her
Yeah.
5 times. Then they threw her out. Then the rehabilitation center threw her out.
Sure.
Because she was then, at that point, a danger to all the women who, the man had access to
Yeah.
their mates. This is going to be, she's in my 20s.
You're right. That's why you need, you see, that's why you will need help in this, and we have to put our heads together. What we would do is, if the consensus here is that we go for this, right? Then we would, in a sense, present it to her in the most palatable and constructive way possible. And we would use every influence we have with her, the confidence that she has in us, and Ellen and all of us, is to make it clear to her that this is the best for her and that we are behind it. The second part will be that you will go to the best places where these kind of crazy things will not happen, and she will have an opportunity to visit and see for herself.
You know that. How do you know that? You don't know that. I
No,
would
no,
have
but
never,
it's
never-
reasonable. I mean,
No,
within
but
reason.
You would have never had it imagined that would happen in
Sure.
these places.
I realize that. The way we go is, if I have to go to a guy who's going to operate on me and fiddle around with my heart, I'll go to people that have established a reputation of having done it well before, and other people trust. And then I still pray to God that they are not going to foul up, right? I think the way you go about it is that you have a little bit better chance to hit it right if you go to places which have established a reputation, and other people who have been exposed to them say these are good people, they are reliable. Ultimately, you have to pray to God. Ultimately, I agree with you. The basic thing really is, do I read correctly your mind? You feel in essence that this may be the sensible thing, but now you're worried how you will sell it to Alyse, how you would get her to see it, because she's a reluctant debutante. I agree. She's not easy, to pick up and say, because this is an unknown. All she knows is that there was something very unpleasant in the past. What something better could be, she has to see with her own eyes. By the way, we had here a young woman, I don't know if you remember her, who at the beginning was absolutely against going into a residential program. Do you remember Michelle? Remember Michelle?
Yes.
And because she had no place to go. She has no mother died, and she has a father who is not able to take care of a young woman and so on, and we recommended that she go to a good residential program. At the beginning, she felt horrified. She wanted to go out and live in an apartment and earn her own living, which was crazy. Well, she went, to this tangram, and she's happy there.
She's
Doing
in Texas.
beautifully.
Texas. And she's doing great, which surprises us because this young lady, ever since she was knee-high, always was a street girl. She grew up at a very early age, without parents, without anything, and she was like a street person in some ways, and she wasn't about to be disciplined and live in a residential place. She's happy there. Well, that adds to my confidence that these guys know what they're doing, and I met some of their staff. You go and judge for yourself, and you talk to them, and we will interact because we have good connections. The same thing I would say, you will certainly take a good look and see if the Carbondale may be a good thing. I don't know which one is better for her. But my guess would be that they may be a third place, just as good for her, and then we would call up and ask Shelley to recommend. Because he really knows the scene, and he's a very solid thinker. And I think between all of these informations, you probably would have the way to go about it, so you could look over the top places, and then certainly you would take Alyse to take a look at the place. We will do everything in our power to try to get across to her this message, so long as we know where you are, because we need you to understand what the story is. We'll need your help in this. So I'll ask you, in essence, what do you think, Dottie? I'm not asking are you happy, because we are not happy.
Oh, the only thing
What do
that
you
I
think?
feel like that we haven't tried is the work program.
Work program here won't work. It's such a toss-up. It's such a risky business that we have passed it back and forth in our mind. Everything is up in the air because of the weekends and the evenings, and no matter what we will be doing, is like a boat, that keeps springing a leak. We won't be able to thimble the water out fast enough before it gets filled up. That's what worries us stiff. We would have tried all kinds of things. The problem is that when we have her here,
So
things are ship-shape. As soon as she leaves here, all hell breaks loose.
Now, in these programs that you're talking about, they apparently do have some remedial work
Absolutely.
programs.
Oh yes, yes. They have remedial work, they have actual work situations,
Practical work
they have
situations.
supervised learning experiences of how to live independently, how to balance your books, how to do your shopping. In other words, they have a whole gradation, and if they are good, then they really have what it takes. So they have more than what we have, because we don't have the living situation, we don't have the social recreational thing. All we have is a very intensive shop here, which does its job, but it only covers some aspects. And she needs the whole picture.
The reason why I was saying that was because to balance her bad self-image of herself, to offset that through having a successful type of work program,
Yeah.
it might help.
But a successful work program within such a setting has a
Yeah.
chance. That's where it would be.
That's what I.
At this stage of the game, what you must give her is, first of all, the safety of social, 24 hours of safety and peace of mind. And then within that, you carry the ball further from when we left off, because they will have to pick up where we left off. And then gradually ease her into a real work and social living situation. That will help. At this stage of the game, while you are fiddling around, with the social living thing, the neighbors are destroying the garden. And all hell breaks loose there.
Any place who is going to try and put Alyse to work is going to be very fortunate, because I'll tell you honestly, she has a wonderful attitude toward work. It's probably no surprise to you at all. What I mean by that is she doesn't have set in her own mind specific things she will do and won't do. She isn't someone who says, that's beneath me, I'm not interested. She really is interested in doing just about anything that she could do. And that's a marvelous attitude to work with.
Yes. That's worth gold.
It really is. We have some people with higher skills than she does, and who can live on their own, but who can't make it as workers because they haven't grappled with that acceptance problem. Where she runs into danger is that no matter how late she works, even if it were 5 o'clock at night, she still goes home, and then everything is up for grabs, and it's unpredictable. And her ability to follow through and hold her life together and do things like that still seems to be terrible.
Mhm. So she has a very healthy and very appealing attitude toward work. She's not afraid of working. The problem is she needs the safety and the security so she won't be devoured.
Yeah, she's very vulnerable.
Yes. And she knows it now, and we don't want her to lose faith in it. Huh? Well, you are right that sometimes. No, you are right. Sometimes she doesn't. When she is in that kind of flighty mood, she doesn't think. Oh, yes.
So what's fun? All
It's-
your friends are fun.
That's
All
right.
your friends might be in fun. I can't say if it's bad or right or good, but it's awful for you.
Yes.
As of
Yeah.
3:10 this afternoon, she was really saying, maybe I don't need to come back here, maybe what I need to do is get out and live in an apartment, get to work and take care of myself, and really kind of real understanding of how these problems show themselves. Doing all of those things.
Yeah. Well, the simple, sad fact is that even when she makes the statement, maybe what I should do is go and live on my own and take care of myself, it's a statement of faith, has absolutely no backing in reality. She is incapable of taking care of herself, and if she would run into terrible problems, and the only one that would get hurt would be she and her parents and her family and all those people that learn to love her.
As a matter of
She can't. She needs now to be helped. And we will do everything we can to persuade her that this is the safest way for rehabilitation and make the best of it. But we need your assistance.
As a matter of fact, last Friday, she was feeling kind of so lost and uncomfortable in her own skin that she actually came into the program and she said, can I stay here? Because I'm lonely and scared
Yeah.
and it feels safe being here.
Yeah.
And she simply won't do so.
That's right. She came here
It's all right.
Friday.
She didn't want to be away.
Yeah.
And it really, it gives you a sense
And
of
yet
how much she's
still-
asking for
yeah,
the
but
structure.
yet she's fighting for me to meet this woman who is a lesbian. She's fighting for me to
She
meet her
knows.
tonight.
She
Yeah,
Sure.
so,
Yeah, that's where the thinking fails.
well, they don't show themselves.
Yes. So what do you
That's
see,
why
Dottie?
That's what she doesn't understand. That
Do you
a con
give us-
person is very smart, they're not dumb.
Yeah.
It's just.
I'm sorry, Fred, you called him, you called? Oh, Harold. Dottie, we ask you, and then Harold, since he's become your husband, he can pitch in his own help. Do we get your okay to tell her it like it is, with grace, with dignity, with love, but really tell her this is what we recommend? We get it. That's what we are going to do.
I think that'd be very good.
Yeah, and then we will obviously go, and then somebody lucky for you will hold your hand. You're lucky you have somebody who can hold your hand now. Take a look at her.
Well, I've just been through this with her, and I know. what
Yes,
she's
I
going
know,
through.
I know that. You need somebody to really help you, and now thank God you have got somebody who can burden a little, shoulder a little bit the burden. But we'll do everything we can. We won't just ditch it. We'll stick with
How are
you.
you going to, what is your?
Okay, here is the
The sign
story.
of it's gonna be the-
I would say, let me ask you
Why
this.
don't we bring my
What?
in-law, why don't we bring my in-laws in here now?
No, let's
really,
leave them
because
out.
they might as well
Whom?
know how bad this is. They think she can go
Daddy's
home and
dad's
just be fine.
Who's?
They do-
Dottie's,
No,
I-
Alyse's father's there.
I mean, yeah.
Her
I mean,
grandmother-
Alyse's right, thank you, Harold.
They do not believe that
But
she
they've
is
not-
getting help at all, hardly.
I had even wondered whether we should actually try and talk with Alyse in advance.
Well, but let me say, well, we have decided that we'll do. Let me make a proposal. I don't know yet what to do with this. Maybe you could work it out with them initially. But let me just say one thing. I think that it would be a good idea for us not to confront her tomorrow with this, to give us one day at least time to work with her. And then what will happen is Ellen and I will work with her tomorrow privately and give her a preamble before we present to her the Face the Music in front of others, and gently break to her the news, so that when she comes in Wednesday, will you be here Wednesday? When she comes in Wednesday, she already has a sufficient amount of purpose, so we'll do it together. Now, so I would say that you should not break the news to her yet, except if she asks you, that you should say to her, they have discussed, all the different options, and the general question is, what would be best for you now? And then You know, and the basic thing is so that you don't have to give her all the details. We'll sell her all the details, but what you should simply say to her, you think so? That simply say to her that they have discussed with us the different options and what might be the best for you, and then you will be presented with this first privately, and then in face the music. So you won't like jump in. And if she says, well, what do they recommend? Say that they have different thoughts, but they will share with you first of all and get you informed about that. So there's no final decision made until they have a chance to talk to you and get your reactions to it also. Then what we will do is tomorrow we'll try to prepare her. Right? Now, with respect to the relatives, I don't think we should now jump in and give them another round of this. What you
No.
could do is, do you have a place with them where they can, you don't have a place where they can watch the videotape. What you could do is, you're perfectly well invited to come in tomorrow morning. Bring them in, we'll put you in a room all by yourself, watch the tape with them, stop it and talk with them as much as you need. Let them view the tape of this meeting, which we have taped now. And then stop it whenever you, we'll give you the room there.
Can you wipe out that one place? We both responded, so.
To what?
You're not saying right-
You'll stop it before.
Stop it before.
Stop it
The
before
discussion
you-
is over.
No,
Yeah.
you didn't hear.
I know what we said
Part
about
we
that.
both
Oh,
said.
I'll stop it
Both of
before
us
you
said
get
the
to
same
the
word.
very end. You don't even.
Actually,
need
what we can
discussion
do
on
is, let me say, let's play it
Yeah, we
safe.
edit that tape.
We
We
will
both go.
we will wipe it out for you tomorrow. Before you bring them in,
Yeah.
between 9 and 10, what we'll do is we simply press the button on tape and it's going to
See,
wipe
we've
that
been
piece
trying
out.
to get them here for
Sure.
a year and a half.
Yeah. Okay.
And
We'll
they
wipe
just-
it out for you. So the tape will end actually one word before that reaction and you don't have to worry about it. You have plenty of things to worry about.
And we didn't even know they were in town.
Done.
We just heard they might show up.
Agreed. Okay, why don't you then do that? And then Helen, you'll go and tell them simply that they can come in tomorrow.
They will come in at 9.
Whatever.
We'll see what they're saying.
Yeah, we'll make the room
You'll
available.
negotiate it, and we'll make it.
Negotiate out. What we'll do is, since,
Or something. But maybe give me the time, because I was supposed to go to Nashville with him, then I could go right on to Texas
yeah,
and Illinois.
yeah.
No, I agree with those first.
Well, this program doesn't finish anyway until February 9th.
You still have until February 9th here.
And
Oh.
then
And then from February the 9th until February the 15th or so,
16th, we're still
16th,
here
there's
doing
still staff
testing.
around here. So you have at least enough time to
Right.
bribe.
And then the
Yeah.
program would break anyway, because there would be an actual.
We break for a
2-week
2
break
week.
anyway. So you would have any.
And then I'd have time to go home
Yeah.
and pay.
Sure.
Pay bills.
Exactly. So there will be some time, to make the
Yeah.
preparation. Also, then she will be visiting the places. So then,
I'm saying that means I could go home to Fresno, pay everybody the first month, then leave again to go wherever you want me to go.
yeah, yeah. Okay, I think we have got some working plan, and thank God that you are around to help this lovely lady because she's really hit with a heavy load. But it may turn out to be in the end a payoff. The problem is we have to know realistically when we have gone as far as we can with what we have got. Because if we had a residential program here, no problem. We would have it made. In fact, we wouldn't have had probably so much of a heartache. We probably would have gone further with a
It seems like
combination.
your outside life has become more
More
screwed
care.
up in the last several months.
Last few, yeah.
Since
at-
August or so.
At least, and, everything is really a trade-off,
Yeah.
because she and Valerie were very much on each other's necks, and so they're separated, but then there's less direct supervision, and it's,
Yeah.
as much as she's
She's
always.
still madly in love with Chris, Chris is still home here, it's just, he's out at work now, he's bartender.
Mhm.
He's in Fresno contacting me all the time.
Yeah.
So, we can all
She's
get
calling
along.
him a lot.
Well, you have got your work cut out for you, that's for sure. You've
Well,
got your
she
work cut out.
can't get in any worse trouble than she's getting in right now. So there's no other.
Agreed, of course, but you see, we felt, and this, I think you got the message already, we felt that it's going to be totally dishonest for us because of the trust you have given us to imply that 6 more months are going to move any place. In fact, as things stand now, 6 more months even here, if nothing is changing and everything remains like that, may not only not improve things further, but may even get things worse because she is getting rumbles. And so the point really is one has to know when to cut. We know she likes us. We know she trusts us. But we can't handle what's going on out there, and because of that,
Well,
we
she
have to know
doesn't
when
trust-
to get off.
It isn't anyone though who would be with her, because I've had her in Fresno with
Sure.
the most intelligent
Yes.
people and young people, and they can't keep her in tow. You can't
No.
take her out and go to the
No.
bathroom and not know where she is when you go out. If she goes to the bathroom, you have to stay
Of
out there with
course.
her.
No, you can't
She's
do
gone.
that. She has to learn, in essence, in a fairly good environment, how to gradually get to that rather than jump the gun. In light of the painful history that you had, it doesn't make things easier, it only makes it more complex, right? But you have no
Of
choice.
course, I don't think that her recollection is nearly
As traumatic.
dramatic as mine.
Well,
She
that's,
might not even.
you might say the positive things about bad memories are that she remembers the bad stuff also, not just the good ones.
She wasn't at the meetings, they didn't want her there any longer.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, I think you're probably right.
I probably much more aware of
She
how I
is
felt
more
about it.
preoccupied just with existing in the here and now than trying to remember old history. All right, I think we have got some sort of a plan. I feel more relieved by your reaction because now we have to roll up our sleeves and do the job right. And we'll do it. And we'll give you all the backing that is needed. And we still have a couple of weeks under our belt to really work with her. But we have a clear idea, and then once you know what to do, thank God you know how to act upon it. You look fragile, but you are tough like nails. And I think that's one of the blessings here.
You don't have no choice in that.
Yes. Nobody, you didn't volunteer for that, of course. You were drafted. Yeah. But that's basically where it stands. All righty.
I wonder if.
This